Hi, this is part 5 of a series of classes using Unreal Engine 5 focusing visual effects. So, today we're getting to compositing. Compositing is where we can bring our CG on top of a plate and make it look as realistic as possible. Okay? The first thing we need for this is let's make a new map. I have mine already separated here. I made one, but I'm going to make a new one with you guys. So we're going to go right click, you find a folder, location you want. I'm going to right click on that, and then I'm going to make a new level. Again, level is the scene, is where you're going to place your stuff, right? So I'm going to make a new scene there and saying, hey, do you want to save stuff or just whatever, it's a new one. And then here I'm going to, let's call this demo. I forgot to name it, so demo. We're gonna bring a sunlight, so let's bring sun. Okay, we're already turning this plugin, remember? We're going to go down to directional light, and we're gonna decrease the amount of light to 10. Let's start with 10, okay? And I like having exponential in here, just so I don't see that dark bottom there. So we have something to start. And then I'm also going to bring plane, because I want to see some kind of ground there. I'm going to reset this plane in here, and then with the lock for all the three scale transformation right there, scales, sorry, we're going to go and make this maybe 100. Okay, we have our plane and we have our scene. Awesome. Now we will need for this this window here called Composure. Okay, you can go and bring it in, click on window, and then in virtual production you can go and click on Composure compositing. This is going to pop up in your scene like that, and you just make it a little bit smaller, and I like having it on the side. Okay, or I can make it smaller after. The other thing that we'll be using is sequencer. Sequencer is what will allow us to render this as a sequence, and also to manipulate our camera and even bring cameras from other softwares. Okay, so it's almost like a timeline and where you're gonna have your camera to be recorded. Without this we cannot render things. So you're gonna go and click in here and add level sequencer. Okay, I'm gonna go and click in there, and that is gonna ask, hey, where do you want to save that? I'm going to save it on my scene on the same folder just to make things easier, right? Class 5, and this is going to be airport scene sequence. Okay, I'm gonna click save, and we can do like version. Let's do a version, so 01. It's always good to keep it organized and have versions, right? So as you can see, I have my sequencer that was created. And we also have this window will pop up. This is the timeline. This is where we're going to drag the camera in. This is where you're going to have all our things related to the sequence. Something I always like changing it normally to 24, because most of the things I will change, they work on 24. So I'm going to change that 24 FPS, and then I'm going to drag that in over here. So now we have the browser, and then we have the sequencer on the side. Okay. So now that we have that set up, we'll need a camera, and I like to have a cine camera, so maybe just search for cine, and then you have a cine camera. This way we'll have all the lenses, all the settings, apertures that a normal camera will have, or a real world camera. So we have now that camera, and you can see that when I select it, I can visualize the thumbnail there, and I can even click in here, pin that, so it will always stay over there for me. Okay, so once we have that, just gonna go and save here. It's good to save. It can crash anytime. It's also a preview version, so you never know. So we're gonna click there, and we're gonna save, and then we are going to now start work on the composure. So for the composure, we are going to right click in this section, and we're going to create new composure, or a new comp, right? And then you can see we have classes in common. We're just going to use empty comp shot, and that is fine. We don't need to change the name. So this is what will put together or merge the CG render with the plate media that will bring it in to check our background, right? So this is almost like an image plane. It will allow us to see as an image plane. So we have the plate on the background and the CG on top. In Maya, you normally will hear about people say, hey, how can I bring an image plane that will be connected to my camera? So that's how it is. So I'm gonna save here again. I like saving. And again, I always save here, save also. If you have any asset you bring and anything else gonna be saved. We're gonna go and right click in the composure, and we're gonna create now, okay, there. We're gonna add a new layer element. And this element is going to be the CG, so this is what's going to be on top, right? So or A input, and then we also have, so if you right click the media, there's going to be the plate that we're going to bring in, and there we have. So as you can see, the media here and the CG is over there. So something cool about it, when we have a camera in the scene, the CG will identify that camera, so we don't need to do anything about it. If you do not have a camera, then the CG will be lost. So normally create this after you create your camera, okay? Or after you import your camera. So now that we have that in there, what we're going to do is we're gonna bring the plate. But for us to bring the plate in, remember you need to have that as a sequencer, and it needs to be on a specific folder. So if I go over here to show plate, as you can see, I have my MP4. That is not gonna work. I think most likely it doesn't work. And then we have in this folder all my sequence. So as you can see here, it's about 200 frames, and it's very easy to do a sequence. You can use Premiere, you can use DaVinci Resolve, you can use even the internet, you know, your browser. If you search convert MP4 to JPEG or PNG, you should find a website in Google on the first page. It's very, very simple. If you guys want, I can make a video for that. Okay, so now that we have that sequencer, I can go and grab that path, and we're going to bring that media in. So what we'll do is, again, on the folder where I have everything, you can go and make different folders and make things more organized. This will be easier for everyone to see. We are going to right click, and we're going to click on media, create media player. Okay, so we click in there. When we do click in that, it's going to give us this window, and it's going to ask if you want to make a media texture as well. This is very important, okay? Click yes, I want that as well. Both of them are going to be very important. When we create, we can give a name. I'm going to leave the name there, a new media player, so you can see. And then we also have here the new media player texture. Okay, so let's change this one to texture though. This is going to be media texture, so you know the difference in between them. Now this one is going to be a texture window, something that you can see when you bring a texture, a normal texture. It's kind of similar to that. Okay, now this one is allow us to actually load plates, but before we load the plate, we need to bring something that will allow us read that. Okay, so this is what we're going to use. I'm going to drag that and leave it on the side. And then I'm going to right click in here again on the empty space, and we are going to also in the media bring a image, where is it? Yeah, image media source, that's the one. And then we're going to be leaving that as it is, so you guys can see. So new image media source, I'm going to double click there, and on the bottom you're going to see there's a sequence path. Again, it says sequence, so we're going to go and click in there, and now you can see this is already there. You could just go and paste that path, but I have it here. I'm going to click OK, and this now should be reading that for us. And this one is new image media source, right? You're gonna see that I have two over here, and that's one because I was searching. I was testing. So we're gonna go and get the one. Yeah, it's this one here. So we're gonna go and click on that. We don't need to use the full frame range. This does not have a camera movement, so we can pause here. With camera movement, it gets a little bit more complicated, but again, if you guys want, I can make a video for that as well, and then we need to use another software to do camera track and things like that. Now, let's say that you have already a camera track, and you have a camera and you have a plate that is moving. What you do is you can actually import our camera. So now that we have this, again, we have the plate. This is loaded here. You need to double click and make sure that that is there. You want to keep this tab on. If you close it, then you're going to close your texture. And as you can see, this is the texture there. So when I go and I click on my composure, I can drag now the texture to this area. So what's happening here is we have our demo scene. In there we have a camera, and in that camera, as you can see, we are reading the CG from that camera. And then we have also our media here that is being loaded through these three nodes. So we have the source that is reading this from a location on your drive, on your computer. And then we have the media that allow us to read that sequence and cache it so we can have it there. And then we have the texture that allow us to populate the media plate in here on the composure. So we drag that in there. So once we have that, now you can see we have both. We have the CG with the plane, and we have this. But this is not getting merged together. So hey, is this why is not getting merged together? And I'm gonna turn this one off because I don't want to get confused. The camera that we are pinning here is different from the one over there. In terms, it makes a duplicate of it. So again, if you want to see, you need to click now, and I could go and pin this one and also pin this one if I want. And as you can see, I can have both of there, but I don't have the combination. So now it gets a little bit tricky. If you're working again on other softwares, you need to merge that somehow. A software that I use a lot and have a lot of experience is Nuke, and Nuke needs a merge node, and then on the merge you need A and B. So we're gonna kind of duplicate something that we do in there. Now for this tutorial, I'm not going to use Nuke. We're going to use Natron. That it's a similar software and it's free, so that's going to be even better. But I'm going to show here really quick how we do that. So how we combine both of them. So we need to create a material. Okay, so right click here, and then we create a material. So I'm going to call this one over, because the merge over, and we're going to double click on that. So once I click, you're going to see that this is empty. We want to initially change these options here because this is for a material surface object. We want to change this to post process. So we're going to select this in here, and then we want to change this to post process. So now it's going to be working for us to do the merge over. And then we should leave everything else here the default. So once we have this, again, make sure that you have your Composure plugin in. So go plugin, and then in your plugins, I'm just going to drag this here. We want to search for Composure. And if that is not on, then you should click and restart. Okay, so this is very important. Otherwise, the nodes that we need that is called over doesn't actually appear. So right click and go and search for over, and you can see Composure over. That's the one we want. Also, we want a 2D sample parameter. So sample parameter, and you just say 2D sample, and you can see there. So sample parameter 2D That's the one we need. I'm going to say that this one is media, and the other one we're going to give another name that will be, so I just copy and paste over there. We're going to be the CG. Okay, so we want our CG to be on top of our plate. So let's move this over here. So CG is going to be A input, and we want to connect to RGBA. Okay, so don't connect it there. I was connecting there. So connect to the RGBA, and then B also RGBA. So now we have CG and we have media. And again, CG is going on top of media. Then we get the RGBA and we connect to the emission. And there is it. We have it. So I can save this now. I can go back to my scene. Okay. And right now we still don't see it because we need to do a little bit of adjustments here. We need to connect that. So in Composure, over there, you're going to go to transform and you're going to click on the little plus. So transform Composure passes. I'm going to click on plus there. And then once we have that, we are going to drag this material over here. Once we do that, you can see now we have a media and CG. Those are the things that we actually, those nodes that we created. So I'm going to go media and I'll put media, and then CG is going to be in here. So now I can see that my plate is actually showing there. What happened is my sky and the plane is kind of like in front of it, but I can go select this. Actually, I move my camera, I feel. Let's Control Z here. So I'm going to get my plane, and then I can move a little bit back, and again I can select this and I can pin this one up. So that's what we have. Again, the sun is creating this atmosphere. So what we do, and it doesn't show the fog on this render, but if we don't want to see that on the sun, we can go to sky atmosphere, and then we can change this to planet center composite transform, and now we can see our plate there, and we can see our CG, our initial CG. And that's how you bring the plate and the CG together. Okay. Now we need to adjust the camera here and do the render and do the lighting and bring another software. So that's going to be on another class. This one is mostly about Composure, and that's it. I hope this video was useful. If you enjoyed, remember to comment, like, and subscribe, as it will help the channel grow. Keep up with the hard work. Bye now.